little over a year ago, we were having trouble with a barking dog. It was in the field, which is behind our backyard, and it was coming every morning very early and barking incessantly. I figured out who the dog owner was and went over and had a discussion with them, and things got better. And then, fairly recently, I heard that terrible sound again. I peeked out the back door and listened and didn't hear a thing. Went out the front door, didn't hear a thing. A little bit later, there was that sound again. I concluded it must be our neighbors to the side, and I told my wife, I think our new neighbors have a barking dog. Well, as it turns out, it was actually our refrigerator making sounds that sounded like a barking dog. So it's a good thing I didn't talk to our new neighbors about their barking dog, because I had the wrong information. And that's one of the problems with judging people. Welcome to Truth Talk with Ed Skipper every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Before we get into Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 and the following verses, where Jesus says, do not judge lest you be judged, I want to look at another passage today on judging. This is James chapter 4, verses 11 and 12. And as I read this passage, I want you to ask the question, what's wrong with judging? And let this passage answer that question. James 4, 11 and 12. Brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against his brother or sister or judges them speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment of it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you? Who are you to judge your neighbor? So we see that it's God's job to judge and not ours, because in part, He only knows the heart. Now, my wife and I are extremely different in our personalities. I'm a person of routine, of efficiency, of planning, of structure. In fact, I am that to an extreme, like the 98th percentile of the population. The downside to my personality is that it's not easy for me to be flexible and to go with the flow. Now, my wife is the exact opposite extreme. She is fun-loving, in the moment, spontaneous. And the downside of that personality is she's not real efficient or disciplined. So recently, I, as an exerciser, am very consistent in my exercise and in my spiritual disciplines. My wife struggles. So she had the intent of walking in the morning before she went to work. And again, the time was slipping away on her, and it didn't end up happening. I made a comment. It was not particularly helpful. She sensed a little bit of a critical spirit in me and said, are you judging me? And I had to say, yes, I am. I'm sorry. That was not helpful to her, nor is it my role to be judging. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about judging people. And until next time, may you and I not take God's role and judge and condemn people in our hearts.